although not necessary, a strap is beneficial with a lot of these postures, especially if there's resistance in the hamstring. In order to access a good portion of the IT, we have to work with a straight leg for a good amount of it. So if, of course, there's resistance at the hamstring and that's actually not possible, this hinging practice, then utilizing a strap is just a great way to create the extension of the arm, to create that bind that we're looking for, to then access the various pieces and parts of the outer portion of the leg. Okay, so let's come to child's pose. Okay, if possible, let's work with a closed leg child's pose. And when I say closed leg, we sometimes get into child's pose and the knees are considerably wide, about mat distance. Okay, and this is a modification. The wide-kneed child's pose, is there's really no traditional roots to it. It's kind of a westernized posture. So when we work with closed legs, it doesn't necessarily mean that the thighs have to be touching, especially if there's congestion or extra weight across the front. That can be quite uncomfortable. So even just working with waist distance at the knees, so that there is still some space, okay, in that natural valley between the thighs for less pressure on the abdomen. And then ideally here, let's work with the hands and the arms extended towards the top of the mat. Okay, if you need to fill the gap, by all means bend a forearm, stack a fist so that the head has an opportunity to rest in ground. Okay, and then let yourself settle and sink in here. So let's begin by just closing the eyes, landing to the posture, and inviting the breath to come to the forefront of our mind. Start to acknowledge the way that the breath experience is happening in their body right now, where you feel it, where you maybe don't, where there's congestion, tightness, stiffness, where there's resistance, also where there's flow, where there's freedom, where there's ease, gentleness, and softness. Do your best to start turning your mind and working with the mind to turn it on to the experience in the body. We might not think of this, but when we do this act of turning the mind onto something, in our yoga practice, frequently to the breath and the experience in the body. In essence, we're philosophizing. Work with, or the principle of philosophy is to use the mind in that kind of digestion principle of what we're experiencing, where we create ideas and notions and idols as far as what the experience is. And through the yoga, we learn to acknowledge those theories and philosophies that we have created, while at the same time practicing a detachment from it. So like I mentioned and chatted about in a previous class, about that full circle. We draw that circle of our space and concept awareness, but then we also have to practice erasing that, dissolving, so that we don't get kind of stuck or trapped within specific theories and experiences. So that's where our yoga practice really comes to play, and where really the philosophy of the yoga. Acknowledge where and when the mind gets kind of encircled by something that we're then gripped and held into, conformed. We practice learning, enriching, but we also practice the surrendering and the release. Go ahead and invite yourself just to enjoy a few more breaths here. One more nice full deep breath in. And then a nice full deep breath out. Inhale, slowly begin to press the hands to the mat and rise. Bring yourself on up onto your hands and knees. And then let's just modify this downward dog and plank here. Tuck the right toes under, press back through the right heel just to create some space behind the right knee joint. We're Work some strength at the front side of the shin as the foot is flexed with purpose. And then ease that knee to the floor. Let's do the other side. Take the left toes under, press it back, find the knee space. As well, of course, some strength in the hands, some work and support from the core. And then exhale, return. Take the knee back down to the mat. Send your hips back again by those heels, finding our Balasana Child's Pose. Only now let's work a little bit of lateral space. Shift your hips to the right, walk your hands to your left, and find some, just a slight bit more space across the outer portion of the right side of your body. And really dependent on that kind of fascial line of connective tissue, rather. It's going to feel different for all of us. So practice processing this, philosophizing. What am I experiencing, feeling? Does it come from somewhere? And how can I just dissolve the lines of this and just instead melt, dissolve into the experience? Inhale, return your hands back through to your center. And then exhale, rise up, find your way onto your hands and knees. Let's come to thread the needle. Take the right arm underneath. Turn the right temple down. Look towards the left. Adjust if you need. Your left hand, put it on your back. Stretch it towards the front. Whatever you prefer, keep it on the floor. Keep both knees on the floor. You might even stretch the left leg out towards the side here for a little rolling panda. Listen to the neck. Just get a sense of a slight inversion as well as a twist. And then, of course, maybe adding the lift and the opening through the leg and the hip. Take another breath here. And your breath out. One more. And out. Inhale. Return the hands to the floor in front of the face. Put the knee back down to the mat. Untwist. Find your way back through to your tabletop. And then exhale again. Find your child's pose. Sink the hips back. Walk the hands forward. Bow the head. Inhale. Lift up just slightly. Walk the hands right. Swing the hips left. Let's get into the left side of our body. Okay, so literally from that pinky side of the hand and arm, all the way down the shoulder, the other portion of the ribs, down the hip. And who knows, you might even wake up sensation across that outer thigh. Another breath comes in. And then another breath goes out. Inhale, untwist, come back to center. Exhale, rise. Come on up onto those hands and knees. Second side, thread the needle. Left arm comes under, hand, elbow, shoulder. Eventually that left temple comes down as we look right. Keep the hand on the floor, bring the hand in front of you, or bring it up towards your lumbar. A little bit of pressure in the outer portion of that left arm to help you stabilize, but please watch what happens at the back of the shoulder here. And from here, stay or take that right leg out to the side for a bit of a rolling panda if you wish, as you continue to create some rotation and opening across the body. Take a breath in. And then your breath out. One more. And then your breath out. Inhale, untwist. Right hand down, right knee down. And find your way back through your tabletop. Take a breath in, tuck your toes under, retract your shoulders, lift forward, look up. And then exhale, let's come to a downward facing dog, easing open the backs of the legs as we get into that space that we created in the side waist, the underarm, the outer portion of the arm, as well as the chest, right? Child's pose helps us to support and open across the chest. Take a full deep breath in here. And then a nice full deep breath out. Inhale, soften your knees and walk your hands back towards your feet as you come towards the back of the mat. Feet, let them live about hip distance here. Soften at the knees and spill your trunk down the legs. Inhale, half lift. Get the head above the heart. Retract the shoulders. Look out. Exhale, fold release. Inhale, let's rise. Come all the way up. Sweep your arms over your head. Lift and get tall. Maybe even look up. And then exhale, arrive to mountain pose at the back of our mat. Let's just work a modified sun salutation from the back of our mat here. Inhale, arms up, lift up. Exhale. Exhale, bow and fold, softening at the knees as you go. Half lift, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, continue with soft knees and start to walk those hands all the way forward so that you come into a plank pose. Work some strength across the front body. See if you can practice lifting the gaze. Take a breath in. Exhale, lower. Knees or toes, take it down. Find your back bend. Explore the opening across the chest. Exhale, find the way into downward facing, using the knees or whatever other means works for you. Breath comes in, and then the breath moves out. Inhale, again, walk your hands back towards your feet, lifting at the core as you walk back, fold with softness at the knees, over the legs. Half lift, head above the heart, inhale. Fold, release it, exhale. Inhale, all the way up, sweep your arms over your head, get tall. And then exhale, mountain pose, Samasthiti. Let's do the same thing again, arms up, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, using this as a means not just to move the body, but to sync body and breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soft knees, walk your hands forward. Again, as you come forward, walk all the way to plank. Take a breath in. And your breath out. One more breath in. Exhale, knees or toes lower. Through your back bend on the inhale. And then that exhale, downward facing. Again, travel as you need into that inverted V. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again. And out. Soften those knees, walk your hands again towards the back of your mat, press into those strong arms and shoulders, lift with your belly, fold, release over the legs. Half lift, head above the heart. Fold, release it, exhale. All the way up, arms over your head, get tall, lift. Maybe even look up, exhale, mountain pose, Samasthiti. Bring our big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Feel free to lace the hands or put the left hand on your hip as you arch over Ardha Chandrasana A towards the left side here. If both hands are over your head, you might lace the fingers or self-support as you catch hold of right wrist with left hand and create a bit of an isometric contraction here where you resist with the right side of your body. Okay, take one more breath in. And then your breath out. Inhale, rise through your center line. And then exhale, let's find a balancing pose. Stand on the left, pick up the right, and catch hold of the knee shin. Lift across the abdomen, soften shoulders. Breathe in. Exhale, lunge into your standing leg. Cross, right leg on top of left. Squeeze outer thigh to inner thigh, outer shin to outer shin, tuck toes if you wish. Sweep your arms, come up, inhale. Exhale, right arm comes under left, hold your shoulders, twist high, practice balancing and stabilizing. Okay, not only are we squeezing the thighs together, but we're also pressing outer shin, okay, to outer shin to stabilize and strengthen across the legs. Okay, take one more breath. And out. Inhale, untwist, ground the right, sweep your arms over your head, maybe look up. Exhale, fold, soft knees, take it down over your thighs. Half lift, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk the hands forward. Once again, find your way into your plank pose. Breathe in. Exhale, lower, knees or toes. Through your back bend on the inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Breathe in. And then breathe out. One more in breath. And then your out breath. Inhale, lift your gaze, look forward. Step your left foot through towards the top of the mat. Turn your right heel in and down. Rise up for a brief warrior two. Extend across the arms, opening up those hips. And then exhale, squeeze the front leg towards straight without locking. Inhale, come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Mind any hyperextension at the front knee. Be strong across the back leg. Take the left hand onto thigh or shin. Right hand can continue to stay on the hip here. Come behind you or stretch and expand out from the shoulder. Okay, so working again, some lateral space here on that right side body. Gaze can be down or elevated. You decide. Listen to your neck. Okay, process this. Notice the theories that come in. The doubts, the comparisons, the judgments, so on and so forth. This is the yoga. Find a pose, we draw our circle, we welcome the awareness, and then we erase it. We just let it sink and settle in the body. Take another breath in here. Exhale, look down, soften the knee. Place the hands to the floor. Lift your back heel, step it back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Now 2 options. 1, keep both feet on the floor. 2, lift your right leg back behind you. Press out through the heel. Keep your hips nice and square. Lift with your belly, and then walk your hands back to either both feet or your left foot. So you come to almost a half lift over that standing leg. And I know you've done this with me before. We extend the gaze, we look forward. We firm across the belly, we rise, and we bring ourselves from the ground up to now warrior 3. If you had the foot down as you walk back, when you're ready, just lift the right leg and then of course lift the chest. Breathe and balance. And out here. 1 more breath comes in. Stabilize, breath comes out. Take those arms, maybe reach them over your head. 1 more breath in. And your breath out. Teeter-totter, rise, come up. Right foot lands. Exhale, mountain pose, Samasthiti. Second side, inhale, sweep those arms. Draw your feet together if they've got apart from you. Exhale, right hand to your side, or again, you can practice keeping those hands together and maybe even offering that isometric contraction as we resist with the left side, as we pull with the right. Please watch the knee locks. It's better to stay in a more vertical posture than to collapse and fall either with the chest or hyperextend in those knees. We want lateral space. Inhale, rise, come on up. Exhale, stand on the right, pick up the left. Catch hold of the shin. Check out the balance. Notice the theories, the expectations and delusions that exist. 1 more breath. And out. Inhale, soften the standing knee. Draw that left leg on top. Squeeze thighs. Press outer shins. Okay, stabilize. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, left arm underneath. Hold the shoulders. Twist tie if you want. Breathe in. Squeeze inner thighs. Press outer shins. Let's not forget that valuable piece in Garudasana Eagle Pose. 1 more breath. And out. Inhale, untwist. Ground the feet, reach your arms over your head. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk your hands forward. Again, bring yourself into plank. Breathe in, head up, core strong, exhale, lower. Through your back bend, cobra, up dog. Downward facing, hips come up and away. Breathe in. And breathe out. Again. And out. Inhale, lift your gaze. Step the right foot through to the top of the mat. Turn your left heel in and down. Rise briefly. Warrior 2. Open up across the hips. Steady and stabilize. Exhale. Squeeze the front leg towards straight but not locked. Trikonasana. Inhale. Reach over that extended front leg here. Land the hand, thigh, shin. Or further down. Back hand, hip. Behind you or sky. Check in with your balance. And again, promote that lateral space across the hip, the waist. And of course, we're getting into the inner thigh, groin, and hamstrings too. Breathe in, steadiness. Breathe out, ease. One more. And out. Inhale, look down, release, hands to the floor. Step it back, downward facing dog pose, lifting the hips up and away. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Again, either keep both feet on the floor, take your left leg now, reach it back behind you. Push through the heel, keep your hips square. And then from here, start to walk your hands back towards your back foot or feet. And then when you are back here, standing just on your feet, barely on your toes, lift the left foot. If not already, lift your gaze. Firm your belly muscles. Soften your standing knee as you need to. And then when you're ready, rise from the ground up, recruiting, okay, outer portion of the hip, leg, quad, hamstring, all of it working together. Not to mention hips, core, and back. Balance, breathe. And out. Add the arms if you wish. Inhale. Exhale. Teeter-totter. Inhale, rise. Exhale, mountain pose. Release. Stand at the back of our mat. Inhale, sweep the arms, reach up. Exhale, cross your, where am I going here? Right leg behind the left. Left hand on the hip, and then arch towards your left. Okay, what can happen here is knees can buckle, or the front leg pushes your back knee into hyperextension. So just be mindful of that. Think of eagle, squeeze your thighs, press your shins, and that just creates some really good stability at the knee joint. As you move laterally, you might slide that left hand once again down the outer portion of the leg, or you can once again self-assist, getting into a deeper aspect of that outer leg. Inhale, rise through your center line. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. And fingertips eventually come down to the floor. And maybe you need to bend the knees so much that the left heel, the front foot heel lifts. And maybe the heels can stay rooted, but again, mind the hyperextension in your back leg. Take a breath in here, and then your breath out. Inhale, soften the knees, walk your hands forward if you can, stay in your twist to plank, then come to the blade edge of your left foot, and now your feet should be scissored with your top leg in behind. You can come onto the left elbow here, or work with the left hand and stretch the right. Breathe in, breathe out. So work strength across that whole underside body. One more breath in. Exhale, return, hand to the floor. Find your plank or table as you right to the mat, and exhale, lower. Through the back bend of the inhale, downward facing exhale. Breathe in, and then your breath out. One more here, inhale. Smooth it out, exhale. Inhale, lift your gaze, look forward. Step your right foot to the top of the mat. Turn your left heel in and down. Take your fingertips either side of that front foot here. Okay, your outer back hip, steer it back as you keep your big toe mound on the right foot firmly planted. Okay, then we lift almost to a half lift here. Then as you exhale, you squeeze from the right big toe through to the outer right hip. Okay, this kind of opposing action that stretches and opens the knee joint. That back heel is planted and rooted. The shoulders are drawn back. The chin moves towards the throat here so that we've got a nice supported spine. And if bending the front knee needs to happen, okay, then dissolve the illusion and the preconceived notion that this has to have a front leg that is straight. Breathe in, and then breathe out. inhale. Exhale, squeeze your inner thighs towards one another, almost like an eagle where you had that closing of the scissor action as you squeezed. That'll help take the right hip back more and the left hip forward more. Left hand is going to stay. Again, front knee can bend. Start the rotation and the revolve as we turn belly, ribs, chest, and gaze to the right. Right hand can stay on the hip or invite it to ascend towards the sky. Continually turning your outer right hip back, whether the knee is bent or extended. Maybe your gaze starts to travel into a vertical direction as well towards the top thumb. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, soften the front knee, release. Take the hand to the mat. Step it back. As you step it back, float the right leg. Reach it back behind you. Square the hip. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale. As you exhale, hug right leg in behind the left leg, kind of in an upside down eagle. And then if you can, walk your hands back again. Okay, sink into the standing leg. And then once again, float the hands. Okay, so a kind of a squat, almost nested eagle in reverse, where the front leg is the balancing point. Inhale, we rise. We come up. We sweep our arms. Knee can come forward. And then exhale, release. Take the right foot to the mat. And hallelujah, we made it back to mountain pose. Inhale, just wash it away. Arms up. Exhale, fold it. Half lift in breath. Just fold, exhale. All the way up. Inhale, arms sweep and reach. Exhale, mountain pose. Assess, get a sense for the difference between the legs. Outer, inner, front, back. Inhale, arms sweep, stand on the right. Take your left ankle, cross it in behind the right. If you can, outer blade edges of your feet find each other. Soften that back knee so there's no hyperextension. Right hand hip side or down, or assist as you lean now towards the right. Breathe. And out. Continue to press, in particular through the big toe mounds of your feet so we don't just roll to the blade edges, the pinky sides. Again, squeeze the thighs, push your outer shins. Work to stabilize and support as well as release across all that musculature in the legs. Inhale, rise through your center line. Exhale, soften the knees. Ease yourself with control. Down, 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 down until the fingertips move towards the mat. Take a breath in. And then your breath out. Inhale, part way up. Exhale, walk your hands forward. Come to your plank again, ideally with those legs crossed. Okay, and then we come to the blade edge of the right foot. Adjust as you need to. Find your space. The left leg would be in behind the right. You can be on the right elbow or the hand. Left arm can come to the sky. Maybe the gaze lifts too. Breathe. And out. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hand. Bring yourself through to your plank. Elbows or hands, toes or knees. Dissolve the disillusion. Exhale, lower. Back bend, inhale. Downward facing exhale. Breathe. And out. Inhale, lift your gaze. Step the left foot top of the mat, turn your right heel in and down, come to your fingertips, and find a position either side of the front foot. Push through the left big toe mound, lift across the front side of the chest, invite some strength in the core like your plank pose. As you press down through the front big toe, work to extend the left outer hip back. Again, it's almost this kind of opposing and yet slightly twisted energetic line. So from big toe, okay, to outer hip. And then that supports the opening at the knee, of course the hamstring, and then some of that release at the IT. Back heel, work to keep it moving towards the floor, nice and rooted and grounded to stretch and release across the calf, and then of course the lower portion of the leg. Take a breath in, and your breath out. Again, finding a little bit of that scissor action. Inhale, extend and lengthen. Exhale, squeeze thigh toward thigh. Take the outer left hip back more, outer right hip forward more. Right hand stays. Then from that revolve at the hips, find some movement at the navel, the waist. Find the rib cage turning. And then eventually we can extend the wings of the pose. Okay. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more breath comes in. Exhale, release, look down, soften the front knee. Step your way back. As you come back, take that left leg, reach it out and back behind you, three-legged dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, start to move your hands back towards your standing foot. Bend your standing knee, hug that left leg in behind the right. Again, it's almost like our nested eagle here. Lift across the chest, the belly, stand firmly, squeeze thighs, and then start to float the hands. Breathe in balance, and out. Inhale, start to come up, strong standing leg, draw your left knee forward, wobble, wiggle, find center, and then exhale, place the left foot to the mat, mountain pose, Samasthiti. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold it. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, walk your hands forward. Come to your knees. Swing your legs around, and then come to your back. Okay, so here's where your strap may come in quite handy as we work some posturing, similar to what we did standing, only now in a reclined shape. So let's start out with the left leg nice and long on the mat, work to stabilize it. With a strap close by or in hand, take the right foot up, catch the strap around the foot, and then work to extend the leg. Okay, so here ultimately we have our pyramid posture, where we had the hands on the floor when we were standing. Okay, and then let's work with the strap in the opposite hand. So the right hand is going to help to guide first your right outer hip in a direction that is towards the front edge of your mat or towards that left heel. Okay, so if you need to soften the right knee to make this possible, do so. Soften. Then, almost like you're turning a doorknob, take your right hip, turn your right hip bone, your sit bone, to the front edge of your mat. Now, pay attention and look back at your foot. Typically what happens is your toes turn. So can you keep stable at the hip, but yet work to spiral and press through your big toe mound? Okay, that's that same principle that I was talking about, that directional movement of big toe mound to hip. And that's going to create a different sensation through the outer portion of the leg and hamstring. Now we want to try to keep this. Make sure you have a bit of space towards your left, because we're going to roll to the left a little bit. Okay, we're going to revolve. You're going to start rolling onto the outer portion of your left leg while doing your best to keep your ribs working towards the ceiling. Push through your big toe mound in that right foot, and then take your outer right hip and once again move it towards the front edge of your mat or your left heel. That'll create a bit of a lift or less pressure on your left side waist as you move. Okay, now think of eagle pose and the work to take your thighs together. But we're going to work a rotation in our left leg. So as you roll to the left, your left toes are now pointing left. Can you now turn your left toes towards the ceiling and feel some good integration of the inner thighs to support this outer hip and leg experience? Squeeze. Take a breath in. And your breath out. Now, if you reached your right arm out to the side, you're ultimately in revolve triangle. All right, inhale, soften that right knee as you need to. Draw your leg all the way back up. Right the body as necessary. Bend your right knee. And then let's just come into half happy baby pose here. Using the strap still, maybe the hands find the foot. And we incorporate a bit more release, drawing the knee towards the floor on the right side. Breathe in. And then breathe out. Inhale, rebend the knee, release your strap, place the sole of the foot to the mat. And then go ahead and just straighten it long next to the left. Let your legs flip-flop side to side, feel the difference. All right, let's adjust the right leg. It stays long, purposeful, toes towards the ceiling. Bend the left knee in, catch hold of the strap, or of course if you're working with no strap and want to just find the foot, okay, go ahead and find the foot, calf. You can work with the big toe bind or the outer portion of your pinky side of your foot. Either case, opposite hand and foot or strap. Take a breath in, soften your left knee if you need to. Take your left hand onto your left outer hip and turn your left outer hip towards the front edge. You'll probably notice a difference in how it feels on your low back as you do that as well. Okay? It typically invokes that natural curve to come back into play instead of a rounded low back here, which tends to happen as the leg comes out. As you turn left hip out, turn your left toes back towards the ceiling and work some of those opposing actions, nice opposing qualities. That's a good stabilizer, right? That requires some good attention to detail in order to secure safely, okay, the posture of the leg and the hip, no matter what it is. Okay, stay here or begin to roll now towards the outer right hip, taking that left leg across your body with you. Listen to your thoracic body, adjust for the shoulders as need be. And again, if you need to bend your top leg a little bit, do so, but let's not work with the full bent leg practice because then we lose out on the IT band because of where it connects down in the shin bone. I can't remember if it's tibia or fibula, but I think it's tibia. Okay, so take a breath in. As you exhale, continue to take your top hip towards your front edge of your mat. Find that little waist lift on the right side body. Okay, then let's incorporate the right leg. Turn your right toes towards the ceiling. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Breathe in. And breathe out. Good. One more breath in. And out. Inhale, slowly release. Come back through to your center line. And then exhale, bend the knee, use the strap, both hands or one hand, or find the hands around that foot. Coming into Ananda Balasana here, half variation. Your right leg still extended, nice release for the groin, the hamstring, the hip here. Breathe in. And breathe out. Good, inhale, slowly release, let go of the strap. And then let that left leg come to the mat. Feel free to straighten it out. Let your strap go to the side. Flip-flop, shake those legs. All right, rebend those knees. Draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug and then a rock and roll or turn to your side. Find your seat. Plant your hands. Downward facing dog pose. All right, take a breath in here. And then your breath out. So we're going to work that right leg again. Okay, so right leg, it kind of starts out a little bit like pigeon here, where we take the right knee forward, but instead of the right knee coming to the right wrist, the right knee travels across the body towards the left wrist. And we can just start out with the knee shin on the floor. Okay, the action of what's going on in the back leg, we don't want to turn the heel in. We want to see if we can keep the toes facing, in this case, the floor. When we were on our back, we turn the toes to the ceiling. So this is what we want to try to incorporate and keep here. Okay, then we're going to continue to slide our right knee towards the left until we start to land our outer hip
onto the mat. Listen to your low back. If you need to release and turn your back heel in a little bit, do so. Otherwise, we continue to turn or corkscrew the back leg so that it turns towards the floor. You can come onto your elbows here. Okay, and then the act is to start extending your right leg to the side. So if I just turn on the mat, okay, my back left toe is still turned in here, the right knee is bent, elbows are on the floor. We work to incorporate an extended leg. Okay, so we're utilizing the floor here as a bit of an acupressure point on the outer portion of the leg. Now, depending on, of course, your body, what kind of floor you're on, and whether it's too hard, you might even want to roll a little bit to see what kind of release that might offer you on the outer portion of the leg. Obviously, listen to your body so that it's not too intense, but, there's an opportunity for, self-massage practice. Eventually, we start to lay ourselves down and down and down and down. Okay? And then you might even turn so that the left ear turns to the mat, and then the left hand, right foot, and then the right hand finds opposite. Now your back toes, continue to tuck them under, spin the heel towards the ceiling. And in essence, you've got, again, another revolved triangle. Just a different relationship to gravity and different opportunity in the body. Take a breath in, and then a breath out. Inhale, bring your hands back in, elbows if you wish, untwist. Okay, now bend your right leg a little bit, tuck those back toes, come up. Okay, but now we're going to practice what we call the falling star. So if possible, again, split your feet, scissor your feet. Your back heel, turn it in and down. And then, it's like our side plank, we lift it up. We balance. Press with the outer blade of that right foot, or not. Take a breath in. Exhale, left hand back down. Soften the knees, untwist. Downward facing dog. Whoo. Full deep breath in here, and then a full deep breath out. Little vinyasa if you wish. Come forward through your plank, knees or toes, lower it down. Find your back bend. Inhale. Downward facing exhale. Breathe in. And then breathe out. All right. Left side. So here we draw the left knee forward like we would come into pigeon except behind the right. And then let's give ourselves time to digest this on the second side, even though, we know the quote-unquote shape of the posture. Okay, part of that erasing of the circle is dissolving that of where we think we know where we're going without rooting it into the experience of, our second side, which ultimately is now. Okay, practicing the true essence of yoga. Okay, so then from here, we start to wiggle the knee a little bit more to the side. Squeeze and turn your right heel up, if possible. Okay, and then ease the outer hip to the mat. Come onto the elbows. Thoracic body, practice turning it towards the floor. Squeeze your inner thighs with those right toes dug in and tucked under. Turn your right heel up. Stay here. This might be enough. Again, eventually the leg will extend towards the side. Press out through the heel. Stay as you are, or once again, practice descending. Or maybe rolling, or maybe both. In either case, hone your skills at listening, noticing when the intensity creeps in to be too much, when it's just right, or when there needs to be a little bit more. As you ease down, it's the right ear that turns towards the mat, right hand, left foot. Left hand out to the side, right heel, back leg turns up, and squeeze those legs together. And we have really our face first revolved triangle pose. Breathe in, and then breathe out. Inhale, release the hands, elbows or palms come up. Soften the knees a little bit here. Press into those feet. Rise. As you come up onto the elbows or hands, lift off the knees, continue again, bent knees, or straighten those legs out, turn your right heel in and down, and then eventually lift the right hand. Again, gaze can come up, and we balance. Breathe in, exhale, release. Hand to the mat, lift the back heel, untwist, downward facing dog pose. Breathe in, and then breathe out. Inhale again, optional vinyasa. Come to plank, exhale, lower, back bend, inhale, downward facing, exhale. Breathe in, and breathe out. One more, inhale. Exhale, come to the knees. Let's find our child's pose. Hips back again, if possible, knees, ankles permit. Keep those legs a little bit closer together. Hands once again, maybe they stay extended towards the top of the mat, or if the arms and shoulders have had enough, bring the hands around by the feet and melt into embryo pose. Slow the breath down. Practice again, dissolving, erasing the lines that you've created, the circles and the sands, if you will. And let yourself bask in the resonance that is your practice. Take one more breath here. Breath out. Inhale, slowly rise, come on up onto those hands. Shift yourself forward, find your way to your seat, and then you can come down onto your back. Okay, so really this posture, is rooted in what we do with revolved triangle. And we do a revolved triangle almost as a bit of a classical posture fairly frequently in our practices. And really, what we learn in that posture is the gateway, as with many basic postures. What you progress with in the basic has the opportunity to, expand into so much more. This kind of revolve/twisted shape eventually is an arm balance, Ekapada Kundanyasana 2, where you have that kind of opposing splits in the legs, but yet you're standing on the hands. And the pressure of the elbows on that outer portion of the leg comes into play with a bit more accuracy, and again, some of those therapeutic principles. All right, but we're done for now because we don't have time in this session anyways to progress even further. That's where sometimes a 2-hour practice is nice. But for now, let's arrive here. Knees bent, feet on the floor, and let's take those feet actually a little bit wider, and a slight maybe internal rotation. All right, take a breath in, and then your breath out. Let's do one of my favorites, releasing the hips so as the front of the leg. Drop both knees towards the left, keeping those feet nice and wide. Now working an internal rotation on the right leg to release across the quad. Front side of the hip, the abdomen, keep those arms parallel with the shoulders, and feel free to reach them away from your hips. And invite just that smidgen of back bend here as we move slightly in this kind of opposing quality from which we practiced. Breathe in, and then breathe out. Okay, if it serves you, take that left ankle, place it up on top of the right quad. So kind of more of the more known release. Those of you who practice with me, if you want to do the foot on the quad, do the foot on the quad. As always, listen to the knees here as the weight of your left ankle helps to guide the right knee down. Okay, as the right knee comes down, watch how much there is a lift. Yes, there's going to be a lift at your right side. But see if you can balance the lift
with release. Can you actually, instead of accentuating the back bend, okay, let the right hip settle back down again. Even if it's just that smidgen, it's like that sighing exhale that can come into play here. All right, left foot comes back to the mat. Both knees turn back towards the ceiling. Just windshield wiper, move the legs gently from side to side. And then when you're content with that, let both knees fall to the left. Again, arms, just let them lay on the mat. Keep them as they are here as we work the stretch across the front side of the left leg, hip, and abdomen, or reach your arms once again over your head, lacing the hands or self-assisting. And let yourself just dissolve into this release here. And then if you want, right ankle on top of the left thigh, or again, that variation if you want, foot to thigh. And as long as that knee permits, let the weight of your right leg and perhaps a little bit of recruitment from the outer right leg muscles assist in the left knee coming down. As the left knee comes down, exhale and relax the glute and ease the intensity out of the left butt cheek and low back. Take one more breath here. And out. Inhale, release that right foot, release the arms. Once again, draw knees to center. Windshield wiper those legs side to side. And then release the arms. Let's take those feet together. The soles of the feet together, the knees fall apart. We find some active release to the inner thighs. The hands can come closer. Rest on the belly, rest on the hips. Maybe offer some support for the other legs if that's necessary and needed. Let your eyes close. And go ahead and let yourself begin this dissolving in its entirety, your practice. So often we can get hung up on, performing a specific posture, doing the pose. And really all that matters is that you showed up, that you got onto your mat, that you created space for movement in both the body and the mind, as well as the breath. That through conscious effort, you positioned or worked to position the body in a particular way. It might not be what you thought should happen, but it was in a specific way nonetheless. This is the essence of our practice. To really get into the noticing of when we take this wisdom or this knowledge, the jnana, and we practice it without grasping for results, achievements, desires. We call that vairagya in Sanskrit. Non-attachment. Should you wish to travel this into full Shavasana, by all means extend the legs as you're ready, or stay, or find a position that works for you. And practice dissolving, practice releasing, practice non-attaching to what was. What will come. Just lie in what is.
Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let your breath to start coming in, just a little more controlled. Invite a fullness on the breath in, a fullness on the breath out, supported by the movement and recruitment of the diaphragm and the abdominals. Gently move as you need to. Move to your side. And then eventually find your way to a comfortable seated posture and join me with the hands in Anjali Mudra in front of the heart space. Let yourself feel firmly supported and rooted by these strong, purposefully placed legs and hips, from which we can then rise and find ourselves upright, ready and present to engage in whatever comes next. In his book, The Mirror of Yoga, Richard Freeman, a very well-known American yogi, writes a beautiful passage about this concept of dissolving, creating, and dissolving again these circles of containment and understanding. He shares in that wisdom of philosophy and how philosophy is philo, love, and Sophia, the Greek word for knowledge and wisdom. And that in every act we do, we place our mind into that experience and create philosophies, theories, understandings, and every other term that we can describe in that. And that through this practice of yoga and posturing, we slowly start to dissolve into the love of wisdom, or the wisdom of love. And we begin applying that to every aspect of our lives, our days. It is this